এখন চুপচাপ থাকুন, ওরা নিয়ে আসবে।
ओके
आगे से निकल यस
One, two, three. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Could you please keep your mobile on silent? And we are going to start immediately in 2 minutes because we are doing live. We have 3 panelists coming with us also live from different locations in the world. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for making it to the Foreign Correspondents Club. It's a pleasure to have you all with us, with this distinguished panelists on the dais and those online, and the Honorable Prime Minister also watching us. We will be having her soon after we start the session. The format of the program will be we have speakers who will speak on the 3 minutes, make a presentation, and after that we will have the Honorable Prime Minister. He will also be present. He will have a speech, and then we will open the floor for questions and answers. So we will stick to the format. After we finish the speech, we will immediately open the floor, and we will give everybody the chance, maximum chance to speak. If you make your question short, and then we will be able to take it. I don't have to introduce Bangladesh to all of you. We are all living in South Asia. We understand the citizenship of the Republic of Bangladesh. For those like us who have traveled extensively to this country, cover it, whether it is because of it was young democracy, whether it was because of the flood situation, whether it was because of the booming industry. We've been reading on this for years, and all of a sudden the government collapsed, but the government exiled most of the leaders of the former government. We didn't say it's the former prime minister or former minister or anybody because we leave it to the people of Bangladesh to decide who should be the leading in the event to come and the election to come, whom they wanted to select, whom they wanted to get. The Awami League Party takes place in the forthcoming election next month. Without further delay, it's 6 p.m. We are starting, and I will call Mr. Sadiq to open the event. Thank you.
Good evening, distinguished journalists, correspondents of the Correspondent Club, Financial Association, South Asia. So I welcome you all here as the president of the FCC Club described. Bangladesh is under attack and bleeding. So we made this topic today here, state democracy in Bangladesh.
we cannot hear.
In conversation with the FCC, some panelists, I would like to name those panelists. Beside those, our
We cannot
most
hear.
distinguished person who is going to say words is the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina. Our online panelist is Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen, former Minister of the Foreign Affairs, Economist, and the permanent representative to the UN of Bangladesh. Muhammad Ali Arafat, MP, the Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Professor Dr. Habib Millat, MP, is the President, Global Center for Democratic Governance, Canada. We have another panelist, Professor Dr. Masood Billah. He's
I cannot hear. I don't know.
in the
Others are
Faculty of
hearing or
Law,
not.
University, Dhaka, and visiting fellow Ports d'Azur University of France. Our panelists here, Barrister Mohibul Hassan Chaudhary Nawfal, MP, and his Education
I
Minister.
cannot follow what to do.
Then have Mrs. Ruqayyah Prasi, distinguished actress, director, political and cultural activist.
Hmm?
And I am Muhammad Ali Siddiqui. I'm the Secretary General of Bangladesh Human Rights Watch, US,
We cannot hear.
in New York. So we are here for the event. Would like to deliberate the heart and the crucial situations ongoing. So this auspicious event comes to a critical moment for Bangladesh and aims to provide first-hand perspective on the country's crucial political trajectory, democratic institutions, and Indo-Pacific region's implications. Since 5th August 2024, Bangladesh turned into a land of horror. Radical extremists took over the control. Mob lynching, rapes, looting, demolishing, and setting ablaze to the historical landmarks, monuments, museums, libraries, cultural heritages, media houses, religious worship shrines, mazar, and the foundation stones of the newly birthed country in 1971, the secular Bangladesh. Illegal
Cannot hear.
so-called interim government of Western implanted monastery. We call the Kirstein, Muhammad Yunus, and his NGO authoritarian regime made the beautiful growing economic country Bangladesh a banana republic, where no democracy, no freedom of speech, no freedom of assembly, no rule of law, no safety and security. The plain thinker and the secular, people, political opponents, minorities, and especially the women are in a dire situation in Bangladesh. A particularly designed non-participatory in the one-sided election for the referendum are arranged next February 12, which we worried about, that's going to ruin the basic history and the constitutions of Bangladesh. The largest party, Bangladesh Awami League, and its 15-party alliance are not able to participate in this election because this so-called interim government bar on them. So it is on-sided election as we predict.
We cannot hear the speaker.
Percent outcome might gonna be. So we ask the rest of the peaceful world, those who value the democracy, to make this election inclusive. All parties be fair and credible election atmosphere to make Bangladesh a peaceful, a small country again, and to stand beside the democratic world as well. So my utmost gratitude and love to you all, especially this while we are here right now, we owe a lot because 1971 under the leadership of Srimati Indira Gandhi help us out to liberate the occupational forces. We remember all those martyrs, all those heroes, those who gave their lives and support. Thank you all. God bless you all.
Thank you. We will have an online speaker right now. You can help me on this.
Okay. Okay. I like to introduce right now the online speaker from our panel, Professor Dr. Masud Billah is joining from
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Right. Is it my turn to speak?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon from Nice, France, and welcome from the land of liberty, equality, and fraternity. I'm sure that my colleagues and other panelists will focus on specific themes, but I would particularly take you to walk to the Justice Avenue that Bangladesh has been compelled to live in the post-Hasina settings. What has unfolded since August 2024 is not a routine political transition, but the gradual consolidation of what, as a comparative constitutionalist, I would like to term as a textual example of autocratic legalism and a finest example of abusive constitutionalism, a strategy to use and abuse of law to hollow the law from the term rule of law as we understand in modern democracies. Since the very start, the interim government suffers from serious legal legitimacy. We have seen them uneasily jumping between competing justificatory narratives like state necessity, revolutionary legitimacy, and judicial endorsement that is hardly less recognized in our part of the globe and in the recognized constitutional jurisdictions. This fragility, I will argue, that further aggravated the reshuffling of the higher judiciary, dominated by the judges, largely appointed under pressure by the protester leaders. The regime largely features presidential ordinances placed at the service of the executive whim. The ordinances clearly transgresses the constitutional permissibility and human rights yardstick. Particularly, I would draw your attention to three distinctive scenarios. First, in an apparent effort to appease the triumphant forces of July, the Yunus administration has proposed a so-called July Charter containing 86 absurd reform proposal. I repeat, 86 reform proposal intended to be adopted through a single yes/no referendum simultaneously to be held with the general election. So the main concern now is not only the election, but also the simultaneous referendum, which in effect will throttle down the Bangladesh's founding values enshrined in the 1972 constitution. So thing is that the South Asian nations and the larger global community should decide whether they want to see Bangladesh flourishing in a extreme government scenario. So most strikingly, this interim government is seeking popular endorsement for sweeping structural reform, thereby compromising electoral integrity. I haven't heard of any democracy where the interim government has thrown the referendum and itself is asking for the mandate, which actually is to be carried out and mandated by some other elected political parties. So there is apprehension that in a new parliament, the constitution will be simply thrown down and there will be rise of religious fanaticism. So for the sake of regional security, this should be a concern of international community. Well, the July atrocity undeniably called for comprehensive investigation, accountability, justice. Yet what has emerged instead is a re-engineered international crimes tribunal and deployed in a manner that singularly targets Sheikh Hasina and her government while systematically departing from established norms of international criminal law. Among other, I have shown elsewhere, and many scholars have agreed, that it has violated the principle of retroactivity, presumption of innocence, stringent evidentiary threshold, judicial independence, due process guarantees, and so on and so forth. And apart from the International Crimes Tribunal, the total criminal justice system is in visible distress in Bangladesh at the moment. Hundreds, predominantly are the members of the Awami League, are languishing and dying in jails in questionable numbers. Many of them, including a former minister, were seen even with a handcuff on the deathbed. Thousands of people, including women politicians and journalists, are implicated in cases having resemble pattern and narratives. So the international community, I would say, that should pay close attention to the developments unfolding in Bangladesh under the banner of prosecuting crimes against humanity and genocide. For decades, you will see that Bangladesh have struggled, often unsuccessfully, to secure international recognition of 1971 genocide and justice for its victims. Ironically, under today's regime, acting from a posture of vengeance rather than legality, has collaborated with the political forces historically implicated in that very genocide. So together, they have, number one, twisted and reversed international criminal law. Number two, staged complaint, judicial and prosecutorial structures, and delivered a death sentence against one of Bangladesh's most electorally successful and socially transformative political icons, whose father has led the country to the liberation. So as a law academic in this background, I will say that Bangladesh must return to the constitutional order and humility, meaningfully participatory democracy, and electoral legitimacy. A free, fair, inclusive general election is indispensable. An election scheduled for 12 February without participation of the country's largest political party, the Awami League, risks producing not democratic renewal, but institutionalized exclusion. If such an election proceeds,
I
the
can ask you
international
to
community
wrap up, please. Sorry to interrupt you. Can you please wrap
So
up?
I will say, Contour, out of this natal danger, as the Shakespearean says that we pluck the safety, but unfortunately in this case, we'll have to pluck thorn. We'll have to pluck dangerousness. So it is the international community and Bangladesh people that need to take decision, the right course of action for the sake of legality and justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would request all the panelists, please, to stick to the time, 3 to 5 minutes maximum, so we can take all of you, because the session is 1 hour. Otherwise, we will not have question and answer. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Now, I would like to ask Dr. Professor Habib Miller. He's going to address on the minority persecution all over Bangladesh is happening. So, Dr. Professor Habib Miller.
Thank you. Distinguished members of the Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia and the journalists, ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh is facing a profound human rights and constitutional crisis under the unelected interim government, marked by mob violence, persecution of minorities, systematic suppression of political opposition, and the collapse of rule of law. Documented incidents and verified data indicate that country is rapidly descending into country of fear and lawlessness, and experienced by millions of citizens across all sectors of society. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina didn't resign. However, through a misinterpretation of Article 106 of the Constitution, Parliament was dissolved and interim government was installed, bypassing constitutional norms and democratic legitimacy. Mob violence and extrajudicial killing. 637 people are killed in mob lynching from August 2024 to July 2025. 86 extrajudicial killing from September 2024 to January 2025. 42 political detainees affiliated with Bangladesh Awami League died in prison custody. Public lynching and custodial deaths have become frequent, often occurring without investigation and accountability. 537 leaders and activists of Bangladesh Awami League and affiliated organization murdered. 359,000 plus arrests from August 2024 to May 2025, predominantly Awami League leaders and activists. 124 members of parliament, including 15 women, detained illegally. Additionally, the Awami League was banned from any political activities by an ordinance, and its registration was suspended by Election Commission under government directives. Persecution of the minorities, women and children. About 182 plus minority individual killed, including 10 indigenous persons. 58 minority women raped, 700 subjected to sexual violence. 2,796 documented incidents of minority persecution. 17 churches were burned during Christmas Day on 2024. Threatening letters sent to 21 churches and Christian individuals in December 2025. 103 documented human rights violation in Chattogram hill trucks. According to the official data, between September 2024 to June 2025, 12,726 cases of violence against women were reported, including 4,105 rape cases, reflecting growing climate of fear and impunity. The LGBTQI plus community faced 396 cases of harassment and violence across 70 documented incidents. 44 police officers, 2 answers, 1 BGB officer killed, 182 police personnel missing, more than 500 police stations was attacked, looted, and set on fire. State authority has fractured while violent mob operate with near total impunity. Destruction of state symbol and national memories. The Bangabandhu Museum, the birthplace of Bangladesh's independence, was demolished with bulldozers in presence of security forces few times. Over 185 religious shrines destroyed. This act represents ideological erasure, not isolated vandalism. 184 journalist accreditation card has been removed. 354 journalists implicated in fabricated murder cases, 18 journalists arrested of false charges, 523 documented incidents of journalist persecution. Media houses have been attacked, burned, and threatened with closures. Editor assaulted, female journalist harassed. After 5th August, mob violence heavily targeted academic sector. 45 university teachers permanently dismissed, 200 temporarily suspended, 2,000 subjected to coordinated academic sanctions, 2,000 teachers attacked by mob, nearly 1,000 teachers falsely charged with murder cases. Approximately 200,000 students have been affected. Many have been barred from classes, harassed, handed over to the police, expelled without causes or targeted alleged political affiliation. In numerous cases, students were denied registration, examination, and certificates. Beyond academia, repression has expanded across the professional, including lawyers, doctor, engineer, agriculturist. As a result of unelected and constitutionally illegitimate government, the rule of law has collapsed. Opposition political has been criminalized. Minority face systematic persecution, mob violence has been normalized, media is silenced, and citizens is in fear. Bangladesh has effectively become a country gripped by fear and lawlessness. Recommendations are immediate restoration of civil rights and law and order, independent and impartial investigation into human rights violations, free, fair, participatory national election involving in all political parties under a neutral caretaker government. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sticking to the time. Yes, next speaker, please, Mr. Siddiqui.
Thank you. Now I would like to ask Professor Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen, former Minister of
You can hear,
Professor Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen. But prior to that,
I cannot hear.
is already given
Hello?
their statements.
I cannot hear.
Code, everybody, you can scan it and you would find all the transcripts. Thank you.
The mic is yours. Please speak.
All right.
Go ahead, Dr. Momen.
I cannot
Dr.
hear the
Mohammed,
moderator.
hear
I
us?
could hear the speakers.
Yes, please speak now.
Hello?
Unmute yourself and speak, please. You're already unmute. Just
Wow,
speak.
what happened?
Listening.
You can speak now. We can hear you. You cannot hear.
Okay. So I
can
can
speak,
start
please.
preaching? Okay,
Please
because
start,
I cannot
please.
hear the moderator.
Please start.
Okay. Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank the organizers for conveying this important event at a time when Bangladesh is facing one of the gravest crises in its history. Our country is struggling under an unconstitutional and illegitimate interim government led by Professor Muhammad Yunus, a Nobel laureate in name, but a deeply partisan and divisive ruler in practice. Until August 2024, Bangladesh was on a clear path towards progress. Under a democratically elected government of Sheikh Hasina, we are striving to become a hunger-free nation by 2030 and a prosperous digital economy by 2041. Our economy was vibrant, globally recognized as a model for Global South, and ranked among the world's top-performing economies. We achieved an average GDP growth rate of 6.6% during last 15 years of Sheikh Hasina rule, and at the same time, we could reduce poverty from 42% to 18%, net nearly 100% electricity needs, establish 14,000 community health clinics to provide basic health services, and most importantly, we are able to provide basic needs to the poorest and marginal people, the widowers, the homeless, under our social protection programs, and empowered our communities, including women. Ladies and gentlemen, the journey was abruptly derailed when the popularly elected government of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was overthrown through a meticulous calculated conspiracy. Since then, Bangladesh has descended into economic collapse, lawlessness, and anarchy. When security collapses, society collapses, and anarchy becomes a norm. Under the Yunus administration, mob violence, corruption, and radical extremism have become routine. Ordinary citizens are being killed, homes, businesses, and livelihoods are being looted, vandalized, and burned down. Historic sites, religious shrines, temples, mazars, and national monuments are being destroyed. Yet the state has abdicated its most basic responsibility to protect its people. Today, no one in Bangladesh feels safe. In fact, the hate speech and false narratives weaken the nation's unity. And you all know a divided society is easier to manipulate and destabilize. The current regime has systematically targeted three groups. First, members and supporters of the Army League, the nation's largest and oldest political party. Second, citizens who believe in Mukti Juddha Chetana, the values and ideals of liberation war, and third, members of the Hindu minority community. Through relentless propaganda, the government has fostered hatred and dehumanization against these groups. Acts of extreme violence, including killings without trial, have taken place while atrocities stood by or remained silent. Bodies are being found in rivers, marshlands, roadsides, and even in private homes. When such atrocities occur, silence from the international community is not neutrality, it's complicity. Human rights violations under this regime have surpassed all past records. Like authoritarian regimes of the past that relied on intimidation and mobs to silence dissent, today Bangladesh is witnessing the rise of a culture of fear. In the pretext of reform, state institutions, including the judiciary, the police, and the financial sectors, have been systematically weakened or rendered ineffective, leaving citizens with no avenue for justice and accountability. Dear friends, a nation can survive poverty, but not anarchy, lawlessness, and violence. The consequences are devastating. Media houses have been attacked, journalists arrested or dismissed, and free expression crushed. Nearly 3 million workers, most of them women, have lost their jobs. Poverty has surged dramatically in a short period of time, and tens of millions now face the threat of hunger and starvation. Yunus government, through its venomous propaganda, made its friends and neighbors enemy, and it is becoming a pariah state. Education institutions and the justice system have also fallen victim to mob control. Academic discipline and educational standards are deteriorating rapidly, while the judiciary has become a tool of intimidation and extortion rather than justice. Amid this chaos, the interim government is attempting to stage a predetermined election on February 12, 2026, excluding major political parties, including the Awami League, which enjoys overwhelming public support. As per media reports, almost 70%. Such a sham election will neither restore democracy nor bring political stability or economic recovery. Under these circumstances, we appeal to the global conscience, to human rights defenders, the media, and the world leaders to speak up for the voiceless and stand for justice and democracy in Bangladesh. This is not a party issue. This is a survival. Uh, this is a survival issue for the nation and for Bangladesh, and all irrespective of party affiliation must raise their voices. Dear ladies and gentlemen, if Bangladesh is allowed to slide further into extremism and terrorism, the consequences will not remain confined within its borders. Terrorism has no religion, no morality, no boundaries. Indifference today will invite instability and danger tomorrow. The solution is clear. Political and social stability can only be restored through democracy, rule of law, and inclusive governance. Extremism can be defeated only when the people's will is respected. Therefore, we urge the international community to apply strong pressure on the current authorities to ensure the following. First, a free, fair, inclusive, and credible election with the participation of all political parties. Second, immediate withdrawal of bans on political parties. Third, release of all political prisoners and journalists before the election. Fourth, withdrawal of all false and politically motivated cases. And fifth, finally, formation of a genuinely neutral interim government, which requires Professor Muhammad Yunus, who is highly partisan and vindictive, to step aside. Let us hope and pray that civility, democracy, and good governance are restored in Bangladesh without further delay. Thank you. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu.
Thank you very much. Nick? Thank you for sticking to the time. We have the final speaker, Ms. Rokia Rashi. Then we have, just to let you know, we have more than 15,000 people are watching online, including lots of capitals have been involved, and many people are watching us, not only from South Asia. So we are happy to have you with us. Please speak.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, today I will speak only about women's rights and cultural freedom in post Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh. Since August 2024, women and gender minorities have faced a sharp and alarming decline in safety and dignity. According to official government information, between September 2024 and June 2025, Bangladesh recorded 12,726 complaints of violence against women, including 4,105 rape cases. These figures reveal a climate of fear and near total impunity. Women's visibility in public and cultural life is shrinking. Women's football matches were attacked and stopped in Jaipurhat and Dinajpur, injuring at least 50 people. Members of the national women's football team received hate and death threats. Actresses and media personalities were prevented from carrying out their professional duties. At the same time, Bangladesh cultural foundations are under attack. Between 5 and 14 hours, vandalism occurred in 59 districts, including the attack and total destruction of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's Dhanmoundi's residence. A national memorial across the country, murals, sculpture, and cultural and historical artifacts were demolished by religious extremist groups. Liberation war-related monuments were targeted in 35 districts, including museums and memorials. After Prime Minister left the country, 22 cultural academies were attacked, looted, and burned. Theatre performances were stopped, artists were assaulted, and explosions occurred outside the Dhaka Shilpakala Academy, the National Center for Performing Arts. Women's political representation has also collapsed. Human Rights Watch reports that 30 of 51 political parties have no women candidates. Jamaat Islami has none among its 276 nominations, while it has only 9. Yeah. A recent court verdict allowing men to remarry without their first wife's consent marks a serious rollback of women's legal rights. I speak not only as an activist, but also as a victim. On 14th August, when I attempted to light lamps at Bangabandhu historic home at Himandupur, I was attacked, beaten, and nearly lynched. Some journalists were present. This is the first time video camera persons were not taking video. They are trying to save it. Ladies and gentlemen, I was born at the dawn of Bangladesh independence. I can say with certainty that out of 54 years of our existence, it was during Sheikh Hasina, that women from urban countries to rural villages were equal and secure. From politics to economy, women's empowerment in Bangladesh was recognized and lauded globally. Today, I no longer feel confident, nor do millions of women across Bangladesh. The election currently being planned with consolidate ultra-fundamentalist extremist forces into power, regardless of which party of the government. This is because most secular and liberal parties have been included. The Bangladesh Awami League has been banned through an illegal order. While others, such as the Workers' Party, Jatiyo Party, and Socialist Party, many of which previously have significant parliamentary representation, are being effectively burned to intimidation. Ladies and gentlemen, no law enforcement protected us. No justice followed. Instead, false cases and assassination threats continued to me and others. I eventually fled to India to survive, but I'm among the lucky ones. Millions of women are not. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say, please, save Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have given the message. I would like Alim to put the Honorable Prime Minister on audio with us. She's listening, she's watching, but she cannot come on video. So we'll have her only on audio. So you can keep listening to her message. Yes, please. We have two recordings from her. One is in Bengali and one is in English. I'll play the English one first, and then we will open the floor for question and answer. Then finally, I'll play before the vote.
My beloved countrymen, this is Sheikh Hasina speaking. Bangladesh stands today at the edge of an abyss, a nation battered and bleeding, navigating one of the most perilous chapters in its history. The homeland won through the Supreme Liberation War under the leadership of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, is now ravaged by the monstrous onslaught of extremist communal forces and foreign perpetrators. Our once serene and fertile land has been reduced to a wounded, blood-soaked landscape. In truth, the entire country has become a vast prison, an execution ground, a valley of death. Everywhere, one hears only the cries of the people struggling to survive amid destruction. A desperate plea for life, heartrending screams for relief. The murderous fascist news, a usurer, a money launderer, a plunderer, a corrupt, power-hungry traitor, has bled our nation dry with his all-consuming perditions, staining the soul of our motherland. On August 5th, 2024, in a meticulously engineered conspiracy, the national enemy, the murderous fascist Yunus, and his anti-state militant accomplices forcibly ousted me, though I am the people's representative, directly elected. From that day forward, the nation has been plunged into an age of terror, merciless, relentless, and suffocating. Democracy is now in exile. Human rights have been trampled into the dust. Freedom of the press has been extinguished. Violence, torture, and sexual assault against women and girls raised unchecked. Life and property have no security. Religious minorities face continuous persecution. Law and order have collapsed. From the capital to the remotest villages, mob terror, mass looting, armed robbery, and extortion reign supreme. Our institutions of learning are plagued by chaos, and justice has become a nightmare. The frenzy of militant extremism has cast a pall of fear across the nation. Even more dangerously, there is a treacherous plot to barter away the territory and resources of Bangladesh to foreign interests. By betraying the nation, the murderous fascist Inus is pushing our beloved motherland toward the furnace of a multinational conflict. In this grave hour, the entire nation must rise, united and galvanized by the spirit of our great liberation war. To overthrow the foreign serving puppet regime of this national enemy at any cost, the brave sons and daughters of Bangladesh must defend and restore the constitution written in the blood of martyrs, reclaim our independence, safeguard our sovereignty, and revive our democracy. Let us, all democratic, progressive, and non-communal forces of the pro-liberation camp, take a solemn oath to build a human and welfare-oriented democratic state, and to confront with unyielding resolve the treacherous designs of the murderous fascist Inus and his collaborators. My dear, honest, hardworking, and patriotic people of Bangladesh, our nation is stifled by an unelected, violent regime whose false promises have quickly been supplanted by chaos, violence, hatred, and corruption. Faced with lawlessness and erosion of your democratic rights, your courage and strength is tested on a daily basis. Please do not give up now. The Awami League is independent Bangladesh's oldest and important political party, inextricably interwoven with our country's culture and democracy, defender of Bangladesh's proud traditions of political and religious pluralism, and the committed upholder of our laws and constitution. At this darkest time for our countrymen and women, we reaffirm our determination to help you restore the thriving homeland that was snatched away from you. The Awami League calls for the following action to help unify Bangladesh and banish the divisive actions of the past 12 months. We urge Muhammad Yunus to stop ignoring his own people and do what needs to be done in order to heal our country by following 5 crucial steps we believe will lead to a better and stronger Bangladesh. First, restore democracy by removing the illegal Yunus administration. Bangladesh will never experience free and fair elections until the shadow Yunus caste is lifted from the people of Bangladesh. Only then can we start a process, including the Awami League, to bring the power back to the people of Bangladesh. Second, put an end to the daily acts of violence we are seeing on our streets. We must end the lawlessness to stabilize the country, allow civic services to work properly, and create a platform our economy can once again thrive on. Third, deliver an ironclad guarantee ensuring the safety of religious minority groups, women, and girls, and the most vulnerable in our society. Too often we see people targeted for who they are and what they believe in. This must end, and every Bangladeshi must be made to feel safe within their own community. Fourth, end the politically motivated acts of lawfare to intimidate, silence, and jail journalists and members of Bangladesh Awami League and opposition political parties, restore our trust in the judicial system, making sure it functions properly as an impartial and noble entity. Fifth, invite the United Nations to conduct a new and truly impartial investigation into the events of the past year. We need the purification of truth in order to reconcile, heal, and move on as countrymen, rejecting the selfish pursuit of vengeance. The international community stand with you. The interim government has failed to listen your voices. But together we are strong and together we can make our demands heard. Join us in the fight to take back our nation from those who seek to destroy it. Help us rebuild our democracy in Bangladesh. Joy Bangla, Joy.
Thank you very much. I'm sure she is also with us online, and we will now open the floor for question and answer. I would like everybody to take the question very short and to whom we address, because the panelists also online and we have on the line. So feel free and please wait for the microphone.
And also identify yourself.
Yeah, yes, please. Give the mic here, Mike.
Excuse me,
One
sorry,
second.
can we have the Bengali audio please as well?
Not now, we will have it. I will play it later on, but let me take the question and answer session. Yes, please. No, no, you will not answer any question. It's only the panelists I said, and I made it very clear. Only online and offline. Please, the one on the diet or the one online. She is just listening. That's no, please, no comment. I would like you to start immediately with the question. We have just a question. No, no comment. Yes, I.
Okay, one has.
No, 1 second, I'll give you. The mic will come.
Sir, I'm Sahil Pandey from ENI News Agency. Wanted to know about the future of Awami League, because we know that round the corner elections are going to take place. What's going to be the future of Awami League going forward?
Thank you. Thank you. I think from the feedback we are getting from inside Bangladesh, future of Awami League does not depend on what this legal government. Neither does it depend on the election that has been scheduled. The legal administration there has put a temporary ban. The party has put, they could not ban the party in its entirety. So it is a temporary ban. We are organizing inside and abroad. We are trying to reach out to the global community, and we would like to thank FCC for giving us this platform and for our leader to reach out to the people of the country, because we have been effectively banned from broadcasting anything inside the country in our recognized and registered news outlet. So we are confident that as soon as not just the ban, but as soon as the uniformed forces which are now unleashed against our activists return to the barracks, by saying that I mean the army, which is now out there, along with the police and the militants, and are hunting down Awami League activists. As soon as the army is out of the scene, they cannot stop us from our regular political activism. So the future of the party is not even in question. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, can we take a couple of questions? Yes, please. And then we will give according to the wish of the. Yes, please.
This is also from Honorable Hassan Chaudhry. In Chittagong earlier this year, I met with about a dozen young people who had been injured in the protests in Chittagong. Many of them were permanently disabled, some of them were blinded, a lot of them were under the age of 18, they were children. They were able to identify their assailants as having been members of the police or members of the Chatra League. It's the same situation across the country, and you don't have to rely solely on eyewitness testimonies, although there is hundreds and hundreds of eyewitness testimonies. You can rely on verified video footage. My question for you, as the MP from Chittagong, somebody who we could reasonably expect to be in a position of authority over the Chatra League and also over the police, whether you personally, either yourself or on behalf of your party, feel any remorse for this situation, which has resulted in at least thousands of people being seriously injured, members of the public, all of whom were unarmed. Identify yourself. Where are you identifying? You said, how did you say my name is Cyrus Nancy? Which I'm a freelance journalist. I work at Canal. I just have to keep that.
Good evening. I'm Nanima Basu. I'm an independent journalist. Wanted to understand again from Mr. Chaudhry, elections will anyway take place and there'll be a new government probably coming in power there. What will be your action plan after that? Thank you.
Hi, this is Shamatop. I'm from DW. My question, any of you, that we recently heard that Mr. Sajid Bahadur Choi said in an interview that even if the Awami League were to return to power in Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina would no longer be the Prime Minister. What is your opinion?
My question is also to any of you, I mean, Minister, Education Minister, also. So, sir, I'm Madhuparna Das from CNN UPT. So, I'm also trying to understand what is the plan of action going to be, because now, as you also mentioned that Awami League is mobilizing inside Bangladesh and outside Bangladesh. Most of the senior leaders are maybe outside Bangladesh. So that your party is banned. Yourself is saying that election is already predetermined. So what and how you are going to take it forward, and what kind of expectations you have from India?
It would be the second round, we think.
Thank you. I think I would like to address the question about the injured in Chittagong. Thank you for raising this issue. Although you're not from any particular news outlet, still entertain your question. Of course, we don't disagree. I mean, it's not a laughing matter, as you have just expressed yourself in a smiling manner. It's not a laughing matter. What has happened in Chittagong and across the country, we have been demanding thorough investigation for these events. We have not ever said that if any of our activists are responsible, we will exempt them from prosecution. We have convened a judicial fact-finding committee when we were in government, but that committee was never allowed to function. And if you're talking about my responsibility or my control over our activities, of course I have. You should also have found out how many of our activists have died. Till today, we have a list of 700 of our activists who have been killed by the activists who took part in the protest movement, and also the government officials, the police, and also through mob violence. So we also want justice for everyone. Regarding the question on our leaders' local retirement, I think we have to understand the interview in its context. The discussion was around transition of leadership in the party. And of course, being a political party, which has been continuing in its political journey for the last 79 years, we are mindful of the fact that we will require new leadership in the future. We are of course mindful of that. And in that context, we had commented that when the time comes, of course, if the party decides, there will be a transition in the leadership. It did not mean that our leader will step down from our position. The reality is, people of Bangladesh, we have to keep in mind about what the people of Bangladesh want. From the surveys and the feedbacks we are getting from the people of Bangladesh, they want Sheikh Hasina back. They want her back in charge of the country. They've seen what happened in her absence. So given that that is the public demand, whether the party wants or her son wants is quite insignificant. What we want personally is quite insignificant. So because as a political party, we have to respond to the public demand. Our activist expectation is that she will continue as our leader. I mean, age is, of course, nowadays is not a bar. She is a fully functioning and very capable leader with long experience in government. So people expect that she will return and she will take part in regular political activism and win the support of the people again and run the country. I mean, that is, as a political party, that's our objective. Regarding our reorganization, you see, Awami League is the biggest political party in the country. If you look at the election results from 1978 onward, even when the elections were questionable, Awami League was able to increase its vote share in every successive election that we've held since 1973. In the 2008 election, in which for the first time, we held an election where individuals voted for themselves with an identity card. Before that, we didn't even have a photo identity card to vote. It was the first time that people voted using their ID card. And in that particular election, Awami League alone as a party got 50% of the total vote share. About that particular result, none of the current political parties ever objected because it was considered as the most fair and participatory election in the country's history. Right now, majority of our public representatives, MPs, local government officials, elected officials, they're in prison. As of right, because they are in prison for such a long period of time without any trial. As of right, they deserve bail. So we expect the judiciary to function as one as it should. So if the judiciary functions like how it should, they should be all out on bail. They should be able to take part in their regular political activism. Some of us, only a few of us were able to leave the country. Not many of us were able to. They're still inside the country. Many of us are in prison. So if the situation and when the situation stabilizes, normalizes, the party is back in action, even with so much repression, so many arrests, so many killings. We have been able to hold demonstrations. We have been protesting on the decisions of this government and the mob violence. We have been able to stand against the violent perpetrators of this violence. However, you know that the entire establishment has been unleashed on us, including the army. Since the army is out there in the field with the instruction of the government pursuing us, we don't want to fight the army because it will amount to a civil war. If you are, as a political party, if you want to fight the army or protest the army, it can amount to a civil war. So we are very careful. We don't want to do that, and we are waiting for the time when the army will not be there pursuing our activities. So it is a political strategy, but we have it happened to us in the past as well. After 1975, for a long period of time, Awami League was banned, but yet we were able to reorganize and take part in regular political activism and with people's mandate to go to power and serve.
And you know what,
May yeah, just I'm going to refer your question, 2 questions here. Just I'm going to refer to the panelists outside. Because one panelist belongs to Bangladesh Awami League. So Muhammad Ali Arafat is going to respond to your question that what consequences might be afterward the election. And the next CNN, would you please repeat the question? Exactly. Wonderful. So both the question I would like to refer to Muhammad Arafat. Please.
Thank you very much. But I could not hear the question properly. Could you please repeat?
The one question is that what are you expecting from the government of India, the situation ongoing and the upcoming election? And the second question was, what do you expect afterward the election happened on February 12th? What are you planning to do from your part?
Okay. So thank you again for the question. So I'm not going to talk about most of the things that has already been covered by most of the panelists. I'm sure the audience and our the journalist friends, they have gotten an idea about what is the state of human rights situation and the rule of law and the democracy as a whole in Bangladesh currently. And you can also search by Google. With this kind of questions, you'll find out plenty of evidence of what has been happening. I mean, it's a complete breakdown that we see in Bangladesh of rule of law, democracy, or anything whatsoever. I mean, it's a country of mob. In fact, it's not even mob, because the mob is something that gets created spontaneously by the unruly people. But what they're doing is they're orchestrating all of this in the name of mob, and Yunus is directly behind it. He is using this kind of his henchmen as a mob to suppress the opposition and any dissenting voice, and they're trying to justify it as if they're pressure group or whatever, the anger of the people. But you wouldn't see the participation of the people in this kind of mobs. You'll see the participation of their activists, the radical Islamists and all those groups who are doing it, and they're trying to portray those activities as mob, as if these are the outcome of the spontaneous natural anger. But that's not how it is at all. So if it were all those things were mob, then you could say that kind of his administration failed to contain those mobs. But In reality, it's not they're failing, they're actually instigating, they're basically contributing and motivating these people to create those mobs, and he's using his people as tools to suppress Awami League and sustain into power. So what I want to say here is very simple. I'm not going to go over all of the other stuff, but as simple as that at this moment is we need the democracy to return to the country. We need the power to get it back to the people of the country. And how it can be done? One simple solution. As simple as that, which is a free and fair and inclusive election. Let the people decide. If you can have a free and fair and inclusive election, if you allow the people to decide, that's the only solution that you can see. And you don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand this. We see the country is in total chaos, right? What is the way to transition from this chaos to a peaceful situation, a democratic situation? A proper election. Is the election that you are referring to, the February 12th election? It's a completely one-sided, preordained, rigged election that Yunus is conducting, completely banning Awami League, and that also illegally. They used the Anti-Terrorist Act to ban Awami League. But to do that, they had to amend it. And that amendment itself is illegal. And that hasn't been ratified into the parliament because there's no parliament functioning right now. So the formation of the Yunus government itself is illegal. And everything else he is doing, by weaponizing the judiciary and the law, these are all illegal. So everything is eventually going to be null and void in future. So what we have to do right now, what we're expecting from India, the neighboring country, and all the rest of the world is to, help our people to, voice their concern globally and to be heard. And we're not expecting anything or wanting anything for us as a party or anything. What do you want? A democracy to return in Bangladesh. As simple as that. And for that reason, we need a proper election, which is not happening right now. What we see is absolutely undemocratic kind of situation growing in Bangladesh, and they're fanning it and excluding the only liberal, secular force, which is Awami League, and the only barrier and deterrent to the rise of radical Islamism in Bangladesh. So Bangladesh is turning into the heaven of the radical Islamists because of the absence of Awami League. And we're not absent. We're being suppressed. We're being squeezed at the corner artificially by using unlawful force. So therefore, we have to fight back politically. We have to raise our voice. And we know we have plenty of support among the people. We're going to put them together and we fight back and get the democracy back to the country and power back to the people. That is our position. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll take 3 questions from this side. Yes, Kalol. Kalol.
Kalol Bhattacharjee from The Hindu. My question is on what's really coming up right now in the form of election on February 12th. But I think Masud Billah has made a point of this, that there is a referendum that's also happening on the day of the election. So perhaps Nofil or Arafat or perhaps even Masud Billah could explain it. Then what exactly is the referendum? And because what he said was that the referendum and the election are basically contradicting each other. So are we seeing the prospect that the election would actually not lead to transfer of power from the interim government to an elected government? Because they're talking about 180 days period that they require to implement the yes vote to the referendum. So what really is the scenario that's unfolding? Because it is looking like as if the election is secondary to the referendum. And the referendum is the transformation of the system that they're seeking. So I would like an explanation. Thank you. Next question. Sir, I am Neeraj Kumar from News 18 India. My question to you is that are you appealing to your supporters to protest on the streets against the Yunus government and overthrow the government? क्या आप अपील कर रहे हैं अपने समर्थकों से कि यूनुस सरकार के खिलाफ सड़कों पे उतरे और उन्हें सत्ता से हटा दें?
Honorable moderator, may I draw your attention, please?
Rishikesh from PTI, District of India. So, as you have mentioned that you have huge support to the ground level. will your party extend support to any extend support to a particular party or candidates? And after the election, do you think any you have opportunity to go to the court and challenge the result? One more question.
I'll answer the referendum point. So the whole process is very unclear. First of all, the issues on which this referendum is being held is not very clear to the people. They're calling it a referendum, and yet the same government is campaigning for the yes vote. How can this be an election where one side is being imposed, as in taking the side of the yes, and yet it is not really clear to the people what they are signing up for? The entire machinery of the government has been unleashed, and public fund is being used so that they vote for yes. What are the things in this referendum? Of course, it is reflecting the July Charter, the so-called July Charter. If you are to take the Constitution as it stands, you need to have an elected parliament duly voted by the people in a participatory manner. And in that parliament, if a side gets 2/3 of the majority, only then they're able to change the constitution. But this administration is claiming that through this referendum, they will change the constitution and thereafter from the government. So even though it is a one-sided election, it's not really clear how will they form the government. What if the referendum side is defeated? The yes side is defeated. So will the election become unconstitutional and void? So these gaps are intentional. The government has been formed through a constitutional anarchy, and they want to continue this confusion and anarchy so that no political government can take over. They are not a political government. They are an ad hoc administration. Their legality is under question, but they want to continue this confusion for the foreseeable future. Perhaps because Mr. Yunus wants to continue his illegal grip in power.
I would like to refer this two other questions to the panelists. Dr. A.K. Momen, can you just answer the PTA question that is Awami League going to support any other party in the upcoming election? Or Mr. Arab, any of you can please this question and answer. Here's the Central Committee executive member. Please.
I would like to respond to this on behalf of the party.
Please go ahead.
Okay. So with regard to your question, what is going to be our position from Awami League about the election? Our position is absolutely clear, and our party leader, party president, Sheikh Hasina, has also made it very clear that because this is an illegal government which is conducting an illegal election and where they have banned Awami League, therefore, we have made a very clear appeal not only to the voters and the supporters of Awami League, but also to all the voters of the country to boycott this election. Because we wanted to participate in the election. Awami League is a party always looking for participating in the election. We always think that transition of power should be done through the election and through the electoral mandate of the people. But we have been forcefully banned and been excluded from this process. Therefore, the only way to protest is to completely boycott this. We did not boycott this election. We have been excluded. Therefore, we are asking the voters to boycott this, and that's how to say no to this illegitimate government's illegal initiative. And even with the referendum, it is absolutely unconstitutional. If anyone can show me after going through the constitution that this kind of referendum exists today, if it does not exist in the constitution, how can you go for it? So Yunus is basically doing anything and everything, bypassing the constitution and the legality of everything, and without having any mandate, but he's just doing it, going ahead and doing it. And they'll be rigging the election, and they're, as Mr. Naufel also said, that they're promoting for the yes vote. These are all show that they're staging, so that eventually they can show the outcome of the election is people voted for yes, and that they want to show it as a mandate. But there's no legal basis for that whatsoever. Thank you.
Honorable Moderator, this is Dr. Billah speaking. Can I intervene, please?
Yes.
I would like to supplement on the issue of referendum. This is a very, very serious issue, because general election and referendum runs contradictory to each other. So there is a far more ill design with the mechanism of referendum, and the government itself is arguing for it and for putting a yes vote to the people. Now, you will see there has been a true two-pronged immunity that the government has provided. One is they have promulgated a presidential order showing immunity and pardon to the July protesters who have been implicated in crimes, involved in crimes. And secondly, the July Charter itself also incorporates a clause providing immunity to the members of the government. So if they can pass this referendum and July Charter, obviously they will be able to escape any kind of future legal action. Secondly, most importantly, that this referendum has the tendency even to foil the national parliament. They can form easily a revolutionary parliament, thereby putting a completely new oligarchic legal order. So that is the dangerousness that the South Asian nation should understand. I'm not sure whether India has properly understood the ramifications and implications of the general. It is not only the general election, but the referendum itself. So that should be taken in due consideration by the international community and the people of Bangladesh as well. Thank you very much.
We are already overshooting the time, so we'll take only two more questions. So probably one gentleman wait. No one. Yeah. No one. Yeah. I'll just come back.
Ramananda Sengupta from News Global. Very good question to anybody who might want to answer it. There's this leak from Washington Post which talks about how an American diplomat talked to some women journalists in Dhaka and basically essentially tried to mainstream the Jamaat. I was wondering if anybody would like to talk.
Thank you for this question. From the publicly available information, we have found out that the embassy apparently has confirmed that this is a conversation that has taken place between some journalists and one of their colleagues. At this moment, we have not much to, we are still going through what has been happening. I think it's pretty clear to the Bangladeshis and also others that what Yunus claimed is the part of a meticulous design. And it means, I mean, at least it implies that certain stakeholders were involved in this regime change riot. So then whoever it was, a diplomat or a personnel at the US, it implies that there was some kind of involvement from certain countries, either through their organization or through their government organs. So it actually goes to support what we have been telling to the people, that it was a regime change operation, and Yunus himself had confessed that he had invested in it, he had other stakeholders in it, and it's absolutely clear that certain countries, at least some of the officials were involved in it, and now they want to install a government which will eventually favor them. So before even the election taking place, how can a responsible diplomat predict on the party which is to take over and that they will be under control? If the embassy concerned denied that it is their official, then you would have, you could have just given them a benefit of doubt. But they actually admitted that it is one of their diplomats. So they're planning for the future. If there is an extremist-led takeover, an extremist government in Bangladesh, how will that government serve their interests? And unfortunately, that is what we are seeing now. But please be assured that people of the country and the organization that I belong to will not let that happen. We will rise up, we will reorganize, and we will defeat these extremist forces. If we were allowed to take part in this election, I can assure you, we believe that 70% of the electorate have voted for us. It's their fear, because people in Bangladesh, by and large, are liberal, are secular, and are progressive.
Yes, Atul from Japanese and Asia Government. Do you expect low voter turnout in the election? Also, you could talk about role of Pakistan in the post-election.
If you look at the past voting pattern, Awami League-led 14-party alliance had at least 60% vote share. I mean, if you take political depreciation into account, even if you say, let's say, 20% of them will not be in our favor anymore, you are disenfranchising 40% of the total electorate from the upcoming election. In the most participatory election of our history, we had 70% participation, which was in 2008. For the first time, as I said, individuals voted for themselves, but not that Mr. X voting for Mr. Y, because we didn't have a proper following role in them. So, if let's say we have an election without Awami League, you won't find at least 40% of the electorate in the vote. So if you take away 40% of 70%, you get a figure of less than 50%. So with any government with this amount of total turnout, you'd expect them to the ruling government to have less than 30% support. I mean, by and large. So how can you really have mandate to rule a country, run a country with such a low mandate, such a low legitimacy? So the legitimacy will be questionable. With a 25% support from a country of 170 million people, how will their government even sustain for full tenure? That is the question that we are all asking, and that is why we wanted participation from all the political parties.
I would like to request to play the Bengali clip for if we have that. And after that, they'll be here so you can actually take offline questions as well. Because we are already overshooting the time, so I'll request in case if you have any question, you can take from anyone offline. So after this, can you please play the Bengali clip? Right? Yeah. Also dim the light, please.
দেখেছেন যে অবৈধভাবে ক্ষমতা দখলকারী ইউনূস সে কিভাবে আওয়ামী লীগকে ব্যান করে, তার কি অধিকার আছে? ডক্টর মোহাম্মদ ইউনূস তাকে আমি প্রশ্ন করি যে সে কি জনগণের ম্যান্ডেট নিয়ে ক্ষমতা এসেছে, জনগণের ভোটে ক্ষমতা এসেছে? তা তো নয়। সেটা তো সে নিজেই স্বীকার করেছে, আমাদের বলতে হবে কেন? 2024 সালে সে ক্ষমতা
हाँ चलो अमिताभ से बोलो भाई अमिताभ से
जो तुम्हारा बंद करने गया था ना लाइट उसने